her eyes looked to the sky. She kind of gave that, she could just barely get it out, clear her lungs out, you know. She eked out, my God, my God. My terror just kind of went to amazement. Because, you know, there's a lot of people there. And I don't think they really knew what she was saying, you know. But I knew what she was saying. She was saying, my God can do anything.
Welcome to Blackpack Homestead. My name is Marella.
And I'm Chris.
And we homestead together here on our little homestead. It's a little bit less than an acre. Today we are going to share a story with you that changed our lives. It's Vlogust. Are you so excited?
Vlogust!
Yeah!
Yay!
So if you don't know what Vlogust is, we post every day in the month of August. And it is a tough challenge to get through, but it is so satisfying. The folks we meet through the comments and some of the funny, crazy things that happen while we're filming every day. So, but today's video is a story that starts with how we met.
We did. I was doing pharmacy work at the time.
And we did meet at CVS Pharmacy. He was doing pharmacy tech work. And I don't take as much medicine as I used to, but I used to take tons and tons. And I would wait till I knew he was going to be there.
When I met Marella, I was working a couple jobs. I was working for the Asheville Mall and running Kung Fu classes. I was working like 3 jobs. And yeah, we got to talking and we found out we were neighbors and we grew together like people are supposed to grow together.
And then one day, I just noticed he wasn't there any of the time, and so the next time I saw him, I'm like, dude, where have you been? I thought you quit. And Chris told me, well, I have like 3 jobs. And shortly after that, we exchanged phone numbers, and there was a lady behind me in the line, because we're doing this while I'm picking up my meds. Chris runs off a piece of register tape, writes his number down, I write my number down, we exchange, and this little lady behind me goes, I think I just witnessed to the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
We started life. We had bought a place out in Marion, 2006, I believe. And things were good. For a while we were poor too. We lived off this change jar, but we were happy. I mean, we did a garden every year.
So, we got together in 2004 and we got our house in Marion in 2006 because we couldn't afford anything in the county where I'm from and Chris is from. Land prices are still insane. And we moved out there and Chris was only making like, gosh, I don't even remember, but not a lot at the mall. And we had to have the Kung Fu classes. We had to have all of his jobs to survive. And he had this giant water bottle, like did you put on a water cooler, full of change. And we literally sat there and rolled all that change. That's how we paid bills sometimes. That's how we bought groceries sometimes. And the struggle was real.
So about 2010 come around, and we had done a really big garden. That was our real first big garden. And the house was designed to be up on the road, so we had a big backyard. That's how those houses were designed back in the day. It was good for a long time.
Yeah.
For about 4 years. We moved out to Marion and started a life together. It was a nice little house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, fenced-in yard, cute little crabapple tree in the backyard.
Beautiful crabapple tree. And while we were there, we grew a few tomato plants on the deck, but we hadn't really tilled the earth or started a big garden ever. We planted this garden, we tilled it, we weeded it, and we were looking forward to the harvest. You know, this is our first big garden. Yeah, we're so excited.
And as the garden grew, Marella also grew sick. And as things really started going, you know, it got to the point with Marella where she would just ball up. She would just ball up, she would cry, cry herself to sleep. We were going to doctors probably twice, 3 times a week to the ER. We went to the ER, and it was a lot of hospital visits.
My Crohn's disease causes me to have strictures and obstructions, as well as having lots and lots of scar tissue from multiple abdominal surgeries. 21 abdominal surgeries, to be exact. And I got to where I couldn't keep anything down, and what if I did, it ran straight through me. And I mean, it was bad. I weighed like 90 pounds, 89 pounds.
You know, it was a big garden. We never got to enjoy the fruit of our labor that year. You know, Marella progressively gotten sicker throughout the year, and it got bad, guys. I mean, it got seriously bad. There's not words to explain how bad it got. You know, I'd see her ball up, cry herself to sleep every night for months. It went on for months, guys. I got like virtually no sleep.
And my GI doc in Asheville was like, you know, will anybody see you here? And I'm like, no. So he said, where do you want to go? And I said, Duke. And so we went to Duke for the initial appointment where you meet the surgeon and schedule and all that stuff, and you go over testing. And they were like, well, you know, we don't even know what we're going to find because we don't see anything on the x-ray. And the bad thing is when you have adhesions, which is scar tissue, you can't really see that on any imaging, like not a CT, not a regular x-ray, any x-ray, it just doesn't show it unless the bowel is severely dilated.
She's probably had so many x-rays now that she could probably glow in the dark, you know. But it went on for months and months. I mean, it just was months of her doing nothing. Just doing nothing. She couldn't eat. She lived on tomato soup and tea. Things got tough for a long time, and then finally surgery time came, and they set the date. We were off to Duke. Remember?
Yeah, we went to Duke. We, you know, I'd struggled with this for over a year. Severe pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. A week or two later, we go back down to Duke, and we have my surgery, where they found the softball-sized mass and left me with 6 feet of small intestine. My large intestine was taken out when I was 16. I was excited for this surgery because to me, every time I've ever had to have surgery as an adult, it's like a means to an end. I'm going to get rid of this pain because they're going to remove the problem. And all of my surgeries had always went according to plan, nothing wrong, just textbook. Well, except my first surgery, but that's a whole other story.
She has Crohn's disease. It's an autoimmune disease that they say is Crohn's, but it affects everything. It affects her eyes, her joints. She's an autoimmune mess, you know, because of Marella's condition. Guys, it was bad. I mean, there were points where I think, she would just say, you know, God, please kill me. And it's hard, guys, to have to sit there and listen to that. You know, it really psychologically messes with you. Surgery time had come around, and they had scheduled for Duke University, you know. She's pretty stitched together already, and nobody here locally felt good about getting in there and doing the work that needed to be done. You know, it was going to be exploratory surgery, guys, because they did not even know. They didn't even know what they were looking at. I mean, it was terrible. So anyway, we made that long, bumpy drive to Duke from where we're at.
Went back down there after the initial visit and having the surgery, where they found this softball-sized mass of my intestines adhered to the front of my abdominal wall, will scar to the back, not usually to the front, but mine was just stuck everywhere with the scar tissue because I make lots of scar tissue. I scar what's called a keloid, which means that my scars are thick and they're like big and humpy. I mean, I don't know, you can see my central thumb scars and stuff right there, but so that just, if I scar that bad on the outside, just imagine what's on the inside. But yeah, I was excited.
And as much surgery as she had, you can imagine all the scar tissue in there, and that alone causes problems. They'll go in there and get what they can out. Sometimes it helps, and then other times it just may create more problems. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and you can imagine she's stitched together, y'all. You've had one.
So, you know, I was excited, like I always am when I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We're gonna have surgery, we're gonna feel good, blah blah blah. We make that second bumpy road trip to Duke, and we get admitted into the hospital, and I have surgery. We went to the room there, and we signed all the papers, and did everything we needed to do to get done. Surgery time come, and we all waited. I waited with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and just in the waiting room, waiting for it to get done. And when it was all said and done, we went in there, and this little short, blonde-headed surgeon had come in and said that she felt good about it, and that she had found a mass, a knot, just a knot, about the size of a softball, and another smaller one, smaller. And she felt good about it. So after about 4 days, I think they kept you in the hospital. They let her go. Well, got home. Chris was staying at our the house in Marion. That's where we lived at the time with the dogs. And because I couldn't spend all day by myself while he was at work, I was staying with my mom because I was definitely not capable of taking care of myself at this point. I was skinny, tiny, and
yeah,
weak.
It's just easier to have somebody take care of you, help you up and down.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, you can imagine they just cut all the muscles in your stomach, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd be surprised how much you use your stomach muscles.
Yeah.
You know, in daily life.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I was staying at my mom's, and it had been like 2 or 3 days since we had gotten home. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm just like delirious with fever. I go wake up my mom. I'm throwing up, just severe pain, fever, talking crazy, not making sense. And Mama calls an ambulance, and then Chris. And they put me in the ambulance. I don't really remember them putting me in the ambulance at my mom's house. I remember waking up in the ER and them drawing blood from my femoral vein, which hurt. And I can remember hearing Dr. Humble, one of the local surgeons here, saying, Duke made this mess, Duke's gonna fix it. And then the next thing I remember is going outside in the cold and then putting me in a different ambulance, and I had a lady, paramedic, taking care of me, and I looked at her and I said, knock me out, this road is very bumpy. I don't want to wake up. And she kept me asleep all the way there. I don't remember getting there. I don't remember going to the first hospital room. So I had been staying in the hospital overnight while her parents were in the hotel room by day, and we would switch out, and it went on for a month, 2 months. It was a long time just living in that waiting room. It's hard, guys. And I was noticing her O2 meter was coming off. When it would come off, her O2 would drop severely, and I made it aware to the nurses that something was wrong. Like, something's wrong, guys. We've been around enough that I know when stuff is kind of wrong, like, you know, not right. But the surgery was a success. The surgeon felt good about it, and they left my wound open and had like this saran wrap stuff and this foam packed in my open wound, and it had like a vacuum device called a wound vac that sucked everything out, the infection and whatever secretions, liquids, you know, that come from having an open wound. It was like Operation, guys. You know that game Operation, but the not fun version. The real version, where when
not fun version of it.
Where when they go in to change my dressing, you can see
everything
inside of me.
Everything.
Yeah, my bowel. It was odd, very odd.
So you were cut up at this point, now you're infected.
Yeah, I had an abscess in my pelvis.
Well, anyway, trying to recover there at Duke, she was not getting oxygen properly. She just wasn't getting oxygen properly. I'm sitting there watching the O2. She'd take her O2 or her mask off and her O2 would drop. I I mean, it wasn't like a slow drop. Like normally, if somebody has breathing problems, you could see it slowly drop. This thing was like, it would drop off. And she would kind of get, not delirious, but
agitated.
Yeah, kind of agitated. And I had to make the nurses aware, hey guys, her O2's going down, something's bad wrong. You guys need to check this out.
And I feel so bad and am so confused that I can't even tell them that I can't breathe. And I didn't even realize I couldn't breathe. I just had this overwhelming feeling of restlessness, and I just felt bad, but I couldn't tell them why. They moved me to the ICU.
Staying in one night, I got up in the morning and I'm like, what's the deal with their side here? What do you got going on here? I've been staying in this room, what the heck's going on? And they said that her lung had collapsed and that they had to take the drainage off of it. She had got what's called a pneumothorax. She got to a point where they had to put her on the ventilator, and it was just easier for the machine to breathe for her. And they put her in a coma state. And she was in there for probably about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks just fighting off infection. Letting the machine do all the work. Most people, if you go on that ventilator for 2 weeks, your chances are very, very slight that you're coming out of that situation.
Okay, see, I don't remember any of this. It was like 2 weeks of my life were gone, and I still don't.
Yeah, your ICU got to the point when we were at the ICU is when the machines were kind of breathing for you, because your lung had collapsed. And they moved you in. They put the chest tube in, and in a matter of a day or two, it was like, she needs the machine. We just really don't have an option now.
Yeah.
At this point.
So they didn't intubate me right away.
No, I mean they did. Yeah, they did. They had the chest tube in first, but wasn't long after that that they put you under
in the coma with the breathing tube.
Yeah.
Poor sweet husband. See, when you're in ICU, they have visiting hours and they kick you out, but they also have a waiting room right outside the ICU doors to where your family member could feasibly lay down on these couches and try to catch a few Z's in between visiting hours. And they knew Chris was out there. But when my lung collapsed and they put the chest tube in, they didn't go tell him that I was crashing. They didn't tell him anything. And so Chris stayed there night after night. I'm oblivious to the world, and he's still there taking care of me. And my precious mama, who's always took care of me in the hospital, she was there every day. I'm so blessed.
2 weeks were up, and they were gonna bring Marella out. I mean, they were gonna bring her right out, and we stood there, and they had injected her with the medicine to kind of wake her up, get her up and out of it. And they had set the bed up, get a better position. Her eyes had cracked open, and it had like that 1,000-yard stare when people are not, they're on death's door. I mean, her eyes were so sunk into her head that I couldn't believe that the eyelids were contacting the eyeball itself. It's something, it was the scariest. I've seen people die, but this was like a whole new level. It was probably like the closest thing to a living corpse that you could see. Her eyes looked to the sky. She kind of gave that, she could just barely get it out, clear her lungs out, She eked out, my God, my terror just kind of went to amazement. Because, there's a lot of people there, and I don't think they really knew what she was saying, but I knew what she was saying. She was saying, my God can do anything. And to me, that was the most amazing thing. That somebody on death's door could just mock death like that. Praise God, all in one shot. It reminds me of the story of the cripple, and they asked Jesus, why is this cripple like this, And he said, so that the glory of God could be revealed. And I've seen it time and time again with Marella, over and over. But that time was exceptional for me. I've never been more proud of her. Ever. Yeah, I mean, I love her to death, guys. She's my world.
I don't know where I would be if I hadn't been led to that CVS and met Chris. He has been my rock.
So, I guess the first thing I remember, really vividly remember, I don't even remember saying, God, oh God, my God. I don't remember saying that, but I do always say, you know, my God can do anything. I'm here, aren't I? It's throughout my life, from the age of 12 to currently today, I have been in and out of the hospital close to death.
But it was a long recovery, guys, and it took a long time to even get her close to where she's at now. And y'all should be thankful for every day that you have on this earth, guys. Because you never know what tomorrow brings. When all this started, I told Marella, you know, I says, don't get too excited about this surgery. You never know what's going to happen. So, she's back with me now, and I love her. She's my wife, and I love her. God gave her to me. I mean, she's mine.
God gave you to me.
Yeah. Best husband you ever had.
That's right. Best husband I ever had. This is my third marriage, yeah. 2010 was really the test of us, though, I really think so.
That was definitely rough.
But after after they woke me up from the coma and I was crying about the bed beating me because it's like chest therapy to get all the crap out of your
doing this to me?
lungs.
Why?
Just cry, why is my bed?
And every tears are crying out. I'm like, I'm so sorry, honey. We got to do it. It's got to be done. You know, it'll clear your lungs. It'll save you. You know.
And I mean,
she hated it for weeks. It was like, she knew it was coming. She got to a point where, you know, she was real cognitive and knew it was coming, you know. I felt bad. I hated it for her. Somebody shaking you after you had your guts played with.
Well, and a giant hole in your side with a big tube in it, and it beating that was not fun.
I hate your guts, honey.
I hate my guts too.
I hate your guts.
I hate my guts. You should hate my guts too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when we got out of the hospital from that, out of the ICU, there was still like a couple of weeks of being in a regular hospital room, and I had to walk on a walker. I was finally able to unplug my pumps and walk to the bathroom pretty much unassisted. And Chris was like, and I was getting up to go, and he's like, oh, let me help you. I'm like, oh, no, I can unplug the wound back in this. I got this. I squatted down in the floor.
She couldn't get up.
To get the wound back that's attached to me, to stick it on the IV pump. I got down there, but I couldn't stand back up. I was like, honey.
You were pretty weak. You thought you could. Your mind said yes.
Yeah.
Your mind said yes, but your body said no.
I was like, Chris, come get me out of the floor. He's like, I told you needed help. And I'm like, well, man, I'm just used to.
She was so sick and skinny, guys. It was like a living corpse when they brought her out. It was the closest I've ever seen. It's the worst. I've seen people die, and I've never seen somebody just look that sick and still be there, like you're still there. But your recovery was long and drawn out. It took a while.
Yes.
I mean, it took a while to even put some weight on her. And guys, she was extremely skinny, very, very, very sick. And when I say very sick, I mean like on death's door sick. Yeah. But we made it. We made it together.
Yep.
And we're still here. And we're spreading the word of God all through the YouTube.
Amen.
And that's what we wanted to do for you guys. He gave her a second chance to do so. And gave her a purpose, and this is our purpose. It's why I really started homesteading and wanting to be with her more, because there are times where I wish I could be here for her instead of working a 40-hour-a-week job. We love to produce you great content, and we love you guys. We love the comments, and yeah, if you could share the videos, that'd be great too. I mean, you know, get get the word out. We've grown substantially, and it's not us, guys. I mean, you know, it's all you guys.
That's right.
You guys watching this video, we're producing free stuff for you. Reach over there and hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You know, we're doing it. Our lives are on display for you guys, for your entertainment. And the subject that we talked about today was one of the hardest subjects I think we could ever discuss on this channel. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add, hon?
No, I think that'll wrap it up for this long story.
It was a horror story, guys, but it turned out okay.
It really did. My God can do anything. I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, guys, we're at the end of the video now. We appreciate everything you've done for us in the way of subscribership and watching our videos and sitting here and listening to this horrible story that turned out really good at the end. And we hope to see you again next time at the Blackpack Homestead. God bless. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. We love y'all. Bye-bye.